Most bankers aren't ready to help you until after their third cup of coffee. But with Central National Bank's after-hours service, you don't have to wait for the bank lobby to open to get help. You can contact us from 6 to 8:30 in the morning or from 5 to 10 in the evening, and we'll connect you to a real, live, local person who can answer questions and fix problems 7 days a week. Bank different. Bank Central. Central National Bank. Member FDIC.
The Vietnam War, it's over. Your job's just begun.
A new HBO original limited series.
Welcome to the world of spycraft. Strap in.
From executive producers Park Chan-wook and Robert Downey Jr.
What are you concealing?
Based on the Pulitzer Prize-winning novel by Viet Thanh Nguyen.
What if I told you that I was a communist spy?
How did you become this?
The Sympathizer, streaming April 14th on Max. Subscription required.
This is a Rogue Media Network podcast. This is Central Texas Life with Ann Harder.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to Central Texas Life. Ann Harder here with you, and some new friends that I've just met from the Cambria Hotel, which is a part of the Choice Hotel groups. Neal Simpson, who is the food and beverage manager at BLVD, right? Is that what you call it? Boulevard?
The Boulevard, yep.
Steakhouse there at the brand new Cambria Hotel. And Tomas Pratt, who you are their chef, correct? Yeah, very good. Well, it's really exciting. Of course, Waco is just flush with new activity, new businesses, lots and lots of new hotels.
Yes.
I mean, it's been remarkable how many hotels. In fact, part of the Choice Group hotels, Cambria, of course, Indigo Hotel,
right, well,
is part of this.
They're not part of Choice, but they're part of KB Hotels, which is the franchisee. Yeah.
Okay. And then next door, there's another hotel that's about to come online, right?
The Even Hotel actually opened yesterday.
Okay. Okay. So just so much to choose from. But what kind of sets Cambria apart is this wonderful restaurant. I mean, really, and a beautiful little baby grand piano that Dave Ennis plays, and different. I'm sure you have other entertainers that use that, and it just sort of makes you feel like I'm not in Waco anymore.
We get a lot of that, actually. We get a lot of little. Feels like a little part of Dallas just got picked up and dropped right in the middle of East Waco, and people love it.
Yeah. Well, let's talk a little bit about you first, Neal. When did you come to work at this? I mean, obviously, it's only been open a few months. We've only been open about 4 months now, but I came to work in the end of September. Was hired on as the food and beverage manager. Kept my other job for a few weeks while I was transitioning in, but started working basically full time. Yeah. And then have really had the opportunity to build this restaurant and this food and beverage program from the ground up. Yeah, from the ground up. And that's pretty exciting.
Very much so.
Yeah. Have you done this kind of thing before?
Not explicitly, but I had some experience opening some other restaurants and reshaping and regenerating some other restaurants, and so that was kind of a logical transition for me.
Yeah. And Tomas, you've been there since it opened, I guess.
Yeah, I came on shortly after Neal, a couple weeks after Neal, and it's been a lot of fun. Helped create the menu, kind of fine tune it, get the recipes going, get all of our structure set up, and then start looking at the development of the food and beverage program along with Neal. So it's been a lot of fun.
Mm-hmm. So Tomas, tell me a little bit about your background. When did you know this is the kind of work you wanted to do?
Honestly, I was probably 6 or 7.
Really?
Yeah. I've been in the food industry for 25 years. I've been managing restaurants, opening restaurants, managing catering companies, those kinds of things. I come from Austin. I was here in Waco locally for about 6 years, but there really just wasn't a spot where I could, kind of stretch my wings again. In Austin, I was an executive chef for a place that opened up a couple of restaurants, fine dining facilities, that kind of stuff. And then it just, Austin became Austin. And then this was a good opportunity for me to get away and kind of calm my life back down a little bit. Yeah. And so really, really having a lot of fun ramping it back up. So yeah,
the quality of life in Waco is
phenomenal.
There's something to be said.
Yeah, absolutely.
For that, for sure. So you always, or you knew from a little kid on that this is the kind of thing you wanted. Were you cooking at your mom's side, or what was it about?
I tell people that I was the 4 or 5-year-old who got up at 4 in the morning and watched my grandparents make food for everybody who was going to work.
Oh yeah.
And so watch one grandmother making fresh tortillas and refried beans and papusas and all that kind of stuff, and then on the other side going out to the garden and helping pick vegetables and making pork chops and biscuits and gravy from scratch by touch, and those kinds of things. Right. So just a real rich culture that really focused me on food. And I just couldn't get away from it. As much as I tried, it always ended up being back in food. So.
Yeah. So where did you do your training? Did you have?
So I went to Augustus Escoffier School of Culinary Arts in Austin.
Okay.
I was the first part of the first graduating class.
Okay.
And it was phenomenal. It was a great school. I tell people all the time it was a very big vocabulary lesson for me.
Oh, I'm sure.
So I didn't actually do that until I'd been in the industry for probably about 10 or 12 years.
Okay, yeah.
And so
get a little formal
get
training
in there, get a little
yeah?
formal training, learn some of the the whys behind food, and that helped me kind of develop what I moved into. So.
Well, and then I'm sure there's business aspect to it too, managing people and all that kind of thing.
Yeah, I had been managing restaurants before that, but it's a different ballgame going from a corporate setting to creating your own and doing your own and being able to make money at something versus just doing it because it's making money, if that makes sense.
Right.
So, yeah, definitely a big change.
Well, Neal, a little bit about you. When did you know this hospitality industry was something that was kind of calling your name?
Well, I mean, my first jobs, other than working with my father during the summers, my first jobs were in food and beverage.
Really?
I was a busboy at Olive Garden. I was a fast food, restaurant worker in Dairy Queen in San Antonio. And then I waited tables on the Riverwalk in San Antonio. Waited tables while I was in college. So I kind of got my first endeavor into that while I was younger. In Boy Scouts, I did a lot of cooking for large groups with my dad.
Oh, really?
So I got into the kitchen side of things back then. Actually did an apprenticeship at a Hilton Hotel in San Antonio for about a year, just learning how the ins and outs of working in a hotel restaurant worked. And then went to college, joined the Marine Corps, left everything behind for 9 years. And then when I left the Marine Corps, I decided to go to Macy's, where I was going to practice my leadership skills that I developed in the Corps in a retail environment. I did that for about 4.5 years, was a store manager for Macy's. And then decided it was time to take a break from retail. That burned me out pretty quickly. It's a lot of hard work and a lot of long hours, and so then I thought, hey, I'll get back into restaurants. How hard could it be?
Well, there's no long hours.
There's no long hours.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Not till 1 in the morning. I mean,
yeah. When I moved to Waco 7 years ago, I started. I started back at the bottom again, serving tables, and I worked my way up to being a bartender and eventually a manager, and then ran a coffee shop for a few years.
Yeah.
And then eventually took on this responsibility for food and beverage here at the hotel.
Yeah.
But it's always been. Food and beverage has always been kind of a fallback for me. It's been a great career along the way, and every time I've needed a time to transition into something different, it's always been there for me. So I love working with people. I love leading and coaching people. I love making people happy. I mean, that's what we do.
Well, yeah, and that's the thing. People coming into us, they're usually in a pretty good mood.
Yeah, and if they're not, we make them there.
You work in a tire store, and they're coming in because they have to buy tires. Right. Nobody's happy about that.
Right.
But you're coming into a restaurant. You're ready to, be wowed by a delicious meal and great things to drink and.
Yeah, absolutely.
And there's just a whole different vibe.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
Let's talk a little bit about the Cambria, though. I mean, it's kind of one of the new kids on the block, but it's really making a splash. And I see a lot of people there when I come. That I know that are like, this is just awesome. This is just the best. And it truly is delicious food and a great atmosphere that people enjoy that want to find something like that.
Thank you. Yeah, we love it. It's, Cambria is the luxury arm of Choice Hotels, as you mentioned before. And so they strive to do things local and very, fine level of service. Everything about the Cambria is like that. So when we had the opportunity to create this steakhouse within the hotel, we took that and ran with it. We said, nope, we're gonna do it right. We're gonna do fine dining. We're gonna be better than anyone else in the business. We want to set our mark and really set the bar higher for Waco, and we think we're on our way to doing that. In a lot of ways.
Yeah.
We believe in fresh local ingredients. We believe in excellent service. We believe in amazing experiences and ambiance. The atmosphere has to be perfect. The music, the lighting, all that stuff has to be perfect. And we wow the guests with that experience. And they're rewarding us with great reviews and return business and telling their friends. And we haven't even advertised yet. And we're already selling out dinners Thursday, Friday, and Saturday nights.
Yeah. You need to make a reservation
Absolutely.
if you're planning to go. Word to the wise on that. So, Neal, what's the biggest challenge you have in like planning for a week? I always kind of marvel that somebody can figure I'm going to need this many steaks and all that. How do you even figure those numbers? So you have enough food for Tomas to cook.
Well, for one thing, it's a big partnership. That's
right.
Tomas and I work together every week to plan menu allocation, to plan number of seats in the restaurant. We look at our reservation count every day.
Yeah.
We talk about numbers. We do our schedule every week, and we build our schedule based on what we anticipate numbers to be. And then a lot of it is just kind of trial and error. You plan for a week, you do the best you can, you start with a great plan, and then as soon as the customers hit the door, the plan might go out the window, and that's okay. But you started from a place where the plan is. You can always work from there. Yeah. And so we have a great team that works for us. We have a great kitchen team. We have a great front of house team, and they're very responsive to the needs of the guest. And so we are very flexible in that regard. And then the other part of that is just it's putting in the work, right? It's not taking the shortcuts. It's not allowing the restaurant to fail because we're tired or because we've had a long week or because we had a lot of events.
Yeah, because somebody can have a bad experience and it can have a huge impact.
And that's where it comes in, the leadership side. We have to be there, be active. I don't spend any time in my office at all. I spend all my time out on the sales floor. Out on the restaurant floor. I have my laptop set up on the bar during the daytime, so I'm there to intercept vendors and talk to the guests of the hotel and plan my week out. And then at nighttime, the laptop goes away, and I'm on the floor with the guests, with my service staff, making sure that the bar is getting drinks out fast enough, the host is getting people to the table fast enough, that diners are having a great experience. And if they have something that's wrong with their meal or have something they would like to see different, then we can react to that. And then that's where the partnership with Chef Tomas comes in. He's back on the backside of the kitchen doing exactly the same thing. And then we're meeting to touch a table and making sure that the guest has a memorable experience. He's cutting a steak table side because they ordered a big steak for two. We're engaging with the guests throughout their entire dining experience.
Oh, that's
and we're there. We work 6 days a week. And we only take the one day off we don't take it at the same time.
Okay.
So there's always one of us in the restaurant at any time.
That's great.
Yeah, and that's how we do it. So we make sure that we cover all of our bases so that we don't miss anything. Because nothing is more frustrating than missing an opportunity to wow a guest. When we were right there.
Right. You can't get those opportunities back.
Yeah, absolutely.
Necessarily. Tomas, what's the biggest challenge that you face and what you do?
I feel like it's hard to be in two places at once.
Yeah. You wish you could. I'm sure.
Absolutely. If I could clone myself, I don't think anybody could handle it. But it's
one too many.
Yeah, one too many. But it really is making sure that I give our team every tool that I have. So that way, if I'm not standing right there, they know the right decision, they know the right, step to take, and then standing behind their decisions and making sure that the customer knows it's the right decision, right?
Right.
And finding people who are passionate, as passionate as we are, in this industry and for what we're doing. It takes a certain type of person to get in there and really do it. We're not. We have a saying, there are no shortcuts, no shortcuts at all, because if the second you take one shortcut, you're going to take another and then another, and then all of a sudden that food's going to go out,
quality
and
goes.
Someone's going to go, it wasn't the same as last time.
Oh yeah,
that's
you don't want to hear that.
So we want to be as consistent as we possibly can and do everything that we do as best as we possibly can. And at the end of the night, if that's what we do and we stumbled on something, then we look at it as, okay, what was that stumble and how do we fix it?
Yeah.
And because we print our own menus, because we have a rotating, the ability to rotate product, it gives us an opportunity to go, hey, I'm noticing a lot of people are ordering the kid steak. Because they just don't want the size steaks that we have.
Yeah, that's,
and
so
we're
supposed to eat about the size that fits on your hand,
Yeah, and so we look at each
other.
Much
as you want to eat.
Right?
That one.
And we got plenty of those.
Yeah, I know. You got the big ones too.
But it gives us the opportunity to go, well, why don't we put an 8-ounce steak on the menu? And we can immediately go, all right, so how would we implement that? How are we going to serve it? How are we going to make sure we do it right?
Yeah.
And then, we did that a couple weeks ago, and we're seeing a tremendous response on it.
Yeah, that's what Mike and I got. It was it was just an amazing steak. It was very, very good, I have to say.
And just making sure we have all of those tools where they need to be is allowing us the opportunity to really take those steps to not just be another steakhouse.
Yeah.
One of the things I love that we do that's different is we present you knives to cut your steak with. We
That's
come out
right.
with a choice. You don't,
hey,
choose your weapon.
Yeah, someone no, that's a knife, as they say.
Exactly. Exactly. And so, it gives that different experience. But in the same regard, in the back of the house, we try to do the same thing.
Yeah.
I try to make sure that my staff has everything, absolutely everything they need, from ingredients to equipment to, my presence to practicing an execution, whatever it happens to be. So that way, if I have somebody on my line, they can do everything exactly the way I need them to do it.
Right.
So that way we're putting out the same exact product, every single one of us individually putting it out. Yeah. And that's hard to find at a steakhouse, I think.
Do you have a favorite thing you like to prepare?
For me,
what would be your dream dinner plate?
The one I don't cook, honestly.
Really?
I tell people my favorite dish is the one I didn't cook.
Yeah.
It's hard. That changes so often that it's hard to say, oh, this is it.
Yeah. I guess with produce kind of changes, you've got different things
produce
coming
changing,
in, season
tastes, what we're transitioning through, trends, changes. One of the things that I absolutely love that we prepare, and it's one of our most popular dishes, is our salmon.
Oh, yeah.
We have salmon. It's dusted with ancho powder that we grind ourselves and roast off the peppers ourselves. It's got chipotle honey that we make in-house. And then it's got this gorgeous potato pave, which is a layered potato terrine, which is basically like a really fancy way to make scallop potatoes.
Yeah.
But it's phenomenal. The potatoes are soft. They're tender. You can feel the layers of it. And then our Brussels sprouts, and that's with the gin beurre blanc. That was fun to make. So it's something that's very different, but at the same time has those roots in people's memory. You know, people love scallop potatoes when they were kids. That was like a treat for me at Thanksgiving. So bringing those memories in and telling those stories, and those are the dishes I love to create.
Yeah, so much thought has gone into this business. It's not that I was going to throw some food in front of people. And I'll talk a little bit about beverage, though.
Sure.
Your wine selection. Tell me about that. And do you give recommendations of what to pair with?
Absolutely. So I'm a level 2 sommelier. I did my training before I came to this job, and I'm hoping to get to level 3 soon, but that takes a lot of study and a lot of hours. And as I mentioned before, I don't have a whole lot of free time right now.
A lot of free time.
So it'll get there. We'll get there eventually. But I believe that the wine and the cocktail presentation at the table side is just as important as the food, right? Because it sets the mood. It sets the mood for the entire experience, right? People always order drinks first. And not everyone drinks alcohol, and that's okay. We have a great selection of mocktails and other things we can do, some non-alcoholic beers, things like that. But I strive to create a menu that offers kind of the full breadth of the experience, right? So cocktails, we offer local ingredients. We make our own simple syrups. We make our own. We juice our own fruit. We don't buy anything pre-made. We make our own grenadine. We do everything from scratch. Yeah, absolutely.
Yes, ma'am.
And so that elevates the craft of the cocktail to a whole other level. So then you're getting fresh ingredients. When someone asks for a specific drink, we're ready to make it, and we can make almost anything on the menu. On the wine side, I like to cover kind of a broad spectrum of the world of wine. to give people the options based on their taste profile, and also to challenge them a little bit, to help them explore some things they've never had before. So I have a great selection of old and new world wine that I've carefully curated. I've tasted every wine in the cellar, and I try to build it based on what I know people already like, what I think people will like, and what I want to challenge them with. So I can give those options tableside, and I can teach my staff how to give those options. So someone will say, I'm getting a 12-ounce ribeye. What do I order? I've got a great host of options for you. Do you want to go old world or new world? Do we want to have big and bold, or do we want to do soft and supple? If we want to pair with that ribeye, the classic pairing is a Cabernet Sauvignon, but that doesn't have to be the only pairing.
Right.
I've got some great other options out there for you. And so I love having that tableside conversation with the guests. It makes me really happy when my servers will come up to me and ask me to go talk wine with the table.
Yeah.
I had a really great experience the other night where a guest wanted me to present 3 different options for wine. And they said, here's my price point. Here's what I like. Yeah. Bring me 3 options and you can talk me through it and let me see it. And so I brought 3 wines to the table, and then I found out what their price point was. And I went back and got 3 different wines because we weren't quite aligned. And that was okay. But the second time around, we figured it out, and we talked about each of the wines individually. We talked about what their preferences were, what they liked, what they were eating. And ultimately we selected a great wine for them. Yeah. And they were happy with their choice, and I was happy with their choice. And it brought me a lot of joy, just like it brings Tomas a lot of joy to see guests enjoy their food on the table. Yeah. So that's a big part of what we do, right? We have a little bit of something for everybody. If you want a buttery Chardonnay, I've got a great buttery Chardonnay. If you want something that's different than anything you've ever had before, I probably have that on the menu.
Probably have that too.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. And at all different price points, right? Because wine, like food, should be accessible. Right. We are not pretentious at all. We want to be fine dining for sure, and we want to elevate the craft of what we're doing, but we want it to be accessible. We want the everyday local Wacoan to have the opportunity to come and celebrate something special with us, and not have to save up an entire month's salary to do it. Absolutely. Put aside a couple $100, save it for a special anniversary or a birthday party or something like that, and come dine with us. Buy a great bottle of wine, have a great steak, have a great salmon, have some dessert, enjoy the memorable experience, enjoy Dave Ennis playing piano on a Friday night, all those things that we do to create that experience for the guests. And so that's where food, the beverage side of food really comes into play. Is it starts the party and often ends the party. Yeah. Right. And so we do a collaboration with the kitchen where we pair our wines and our cocktails with different dishes. We create dishes in the kitchen that use some of our spirits. Tomas uses my brandy to make our brandy peppercorn sauce. He uses our Heyman's gin, the Old Tom style gin, to make a beurre blanc that goes on our salmon and our scallops. Yeah. We use a bourbon to make the La Bête Noire, which is a flourless chocolate cake. We use orange bitters in that cake too.
I'm starving. I mean, this was not the right time of day for me.
So we collaborate on all those things.
Sounds awesome. Right? Yeah. So good. Yeah. So how can folks? Go on. Do you go online to make reservations, or what's the best way to do it?
The best way is to download the Resi app, RESY. There's several other local restaurants that are on it already.
Quite a few.
There's quite a few. I think they just added a few more. So I think there's 7 or 8 now that are on it.
Resi,
RESY. If you download the app, you can select your number of people in your party, the time you want to come, and select the restaurant you want to go to, and it's super easy. Really? You can also make changes right on the app. So that if your party size changes or your time changes or something like that, if you have an allergy you need to add or a birthday celebration, you can make those notes. Absolutely.
Yeah, needs you have.
And then you'll get an email confirmation with that, and then it'll text to remind you that you have a reservation coming up. You can cancel at any time. So that's the easiest way. Second to that is to go to resi.com and do it online through a web browser. And the third way, which is the most time-consuming but certainly perfectly fine, is just to call the restaurant.
Give them a call.
Give us a call.
BLVD. You say Boulevard.
Yes,
Boulevard, yeah.
So just call the Cambria Hotel, ask for the restaurant. It'll get a hold of me, and I'll make a reservation for you. Happy to do it.
Neal, Tomas, it's been so much fun.
Thank you so much.
It is really making me want to come back soon.
Please do.
Because we had a wonderful experience. There's just delicious food, and it's exciting to get some of the behind the scenes, some of the inside baseball on what you guys do. Obviously, you love what you do, and who you work for, and this is great.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Ann.
Glad to have you here with us, Tomas Pratt and Neal Simpson with Cambria Hotel and Boulevard Steakhouse. So Thank you both, and thank you for being with us for Central Texas Life. Hope to see you there sometime.
That'd be great.
And see you next time. Bye-bye.
Central Texas Life with Ann Harder is part of the Rogue Media family. Be sure to check out our other shows at roguemedianetwork.com. Please rate this show 5 stars on iTunes, Spotify, YouTube, or anywhere you get your podcasts. Join us again soon for more Central Texas Life with Ann Harder. This has been a Rogue Media Network production.